Hair loss affects millions of women and men worldwide. Actually, this is the most frequent question I get from patients, friends, and even relatives. So I decided to sit down with the CEO of Nutrafol, the leading hair growth supplement that can help both men and women regrow their hair and get thicker hair naturally. His name is Giorgos Tsetis. Join me in this conversation. I think you'll find it very interesting. What inspired you to start Nutrafol, and how did you personally grow this company? I would love to hear your personal journey leading to the founding of this company and where that inspiration came from.
Yeah, it started about 8 to 9 years ago, and I was experiencing hair thinning myself. So I believe that all great things starts with a personal story, a personal desire to solve something. And that's how it started. So I was on a pharmaceutical drug for about 10 years to prevent my hair thinning. I'm genetically predisposed. And I was seeking for a very healthy and effective solution. And unfortunately, the pharmaceutical that I was using was really leading to some of these terrible side effects, such as sexual dysfunction. So that was a tough one for me to accept, and frankly I was suffering in silence for a very long period amount of time. So it was just fate that I met a very good friend of mine. He's a science biohacker, and he shared with me his journey, how he treated rheumatoid arthritis very effectively with some very potent natural nutraceuticals that were targeting inflammation, and some of the side benefits that my business partner was experiencing was actually his hair started to grow back, and that sparked a story and inspiration, gave us a sense of hope, and we became research friends for about a year, and we sat shoulder to shoulder next to each other to dive deep into the science and really understand hair biology, and dive in and understanding the root causes and how that leads to the disruption of the hair growth cycle. And we discovered some very interesting pathways and root causes that we believed would make a difference, because the industry was really focusing on targeting the solution, targeting the problem from one single angle. And we believed that were multiple root causes that led to the disruption of the hair growth cycle. So, and that was just an hypothesis back then. Right now, that research is recognized and peer reviewed, and it's incredibly inspiring to see how physicians, but also just certain publications have taken this to a whole new level to address this problem for millions in a different way. We believe in a much healthier yet effective way.
Well, it certainly looks like it's working for you.
I'm doing my best every day to keep it. I'm definitely very genetically predisposed. So I'm happy that at the age of 39, I still have a full set of hair.
So can you give us an overview of the current hair growth market? How big is it? Where do you see the market evolving?
Yeah, it's actually quite challenging, right? Because it's a growing issue, which is not necessarily a good thing. I was actually hoping that that the problem would become less, but unfortunately, just the way we actually live and the external factors that are impacting our bodies, and just we've doubled down on just the philosophy around your hair is connected to your health, right? So the moment your body is out of balance, and you don't have that state of homeostasis, your hair unfortunately is affected, and we see that every day with customers and patients. So it's a growing issue, and we see, as you probably know, our core audience is actually women. About 80 to 85% of our entire business is are women. So, and we've got stressful lives, right? And we're going through a lot, and hair is not necessarily necessary for survival anymore. So it's unfortunate that we see that the problem is growing, and there's a lot of market opportunity obviously there for companies to jump in and to take advantage of this growing issue. I just hope that we can just lead with the science and knowledge, and really really do everything in our power to help consumers, right? As an industry, this is not about leveraging this opportunity. It's about adding value to people's lives and doing the best way we can to guide them through this journey, which often is quite emotional. So it's a growing issue. We don't necessarily live healthier, and it's the stresses really on our bodies, I think, contribute greatly to this growing concern for men and for women. There's this great evidence now where stress can really trigger your genetic predisposition, like you have elevated cortisol levels, and that's also the case for men. You see that quite often. Men that are going through a very stressful event throughout their lives, suddenly your genetic predisposition actually is really kicking in. So it's all connected, and we believe in a whole body approach.
Yeah, and I can tell you that one of the most frequent questions I get is, what can I do for my hair? And it comes from both men and women. So
Right.
you're really hitting a chord here. What challenges and opportunities do you foresee in the hair wellness industry in the near future?
Well, I think one of the main challenges is the skepticism, right? The skepticism around some of the solutions that are out there. So there's 2 FDA approved solutions, but we really focus around this whole body approach that I just mentioned, and we focus on targeting the root causes. And one of the best ways to do that is this internal approach. So our core products are supplements, and unfortunately, the supplement industry, there is a lot of skepticism there, and probably for a very good reason, because the barrier for entry and for someone to just manufacture supplementation, and there's not too much regulation around it. It's regulated by the FDA, but it's still it's still self-managed, right? So companies are responsible to follow these guidelines, and the oversight is not that great. So the barrier for entry is fairly low. So unfortunately, there's just a lot of supplements out there that don't have efficacy, right? They don't have clinical trials, and companies can get away with claims that can mislead consumers and patients. So that in my opinion is a concern, and I think we all have a responsibility to provide trust, right, and to lead with science, to lead with clinical trials, and to show the world really that supplementation, if taken with the right dosage and you target the right root causes with the right ingredients, and these formulations are clinically tested and they've got proof of efficacy, then you can make a real difference, right? And so that's a growing issue, because as there's a lot of demand in general, for the right reasons, there's a lot of skepticism out there. So we try to lead with thought leadership, with science, and we share the same concerns, but therefore we need to double down on education around even how supplements are being manufactured and what standardization actually means. The pharmaceutical industry is very standardized, right? The pharmaceuticals. Why can that not be applied to supplements, right? And often that takes a lot of effort and a lot of investment from a company perspective. But we believe that that's the right thing to do, and that's why we are where we are.
So there are only 2 FDA-approved drugs for hair loss on the market currently. Why do you think there's a lack of innovation in the industry?
Because everyone is looking for this magic pill, for this magic pill, this magic solution, and I think that's very, very hard. And the reason why that's hard is because hair is incredibly complex, and there's so many pathways involved, and all the systems within the body, as you probably know much better than I do, are interconnected. And the moment you start to target one cause or one underlying cause, or you're trying to treat the symptom, you may affect something else. I truly believe that very complex issues in the world require simple solutions. And we just started by understanding hair biology and understanding the root causes and trying to multi-target these root causes to make a difference. So the approach made sense. There was a lot of common sense behind the approach. And because we use nutraceutical ingredients, they have the capacity to multi-target. With drugs and with pharmaceuticals, it's much harder. That's why most of the drugs, right, factor. And because we're having this amazing blend of nutraceuticals, and some of them are adaptogens as well, it allows us to multi-target the issue very, very effectively. So to go back to your question, I think us diving deep into hair biology has led to where we are today. And I'm a big believer in innovation. So the hope is obviously that there's going to be a much larger breakthrough. But unfortunately, a lot of these pharmaceuticals have also side effects, right? And we believe in this whole body healthy approach. We believe in a long-term sustainable approach. This is not about just fixing the problem now. And this is about if you take something for a longer period amount of time, the hope is that it's going to be good for you and it's not going to negatively impact your health. So hopefully there's going to be more innovation there where also health is being prioritized.
Yeah, so it sounds like Nutrafol's goal is not to act like a band-aid, which is temporary, but really to be part of a lifestyle.
That's very well said. Exactly.
So Nutrafol seems to have a significant market penetration amongst women. Why do you think that is? And what age ranges are you primarily targeting? And we know that obviously hair loss also affects men. So what efforts have been put in to market more towards this population?
Yeah, so over the years, the company Nutrafol, we've noticed this growing demand among women, and there's a variety of reasons for that, especially actually the postmenopausal audience, which was quite surprising to us, to be honest, because the company started with 2 formulations. There was a men's formulation and a women's formulation. And just to give you a little bit more insight there, we had physicians actually back in the days give the men's formulation to women that were over 45 years old. And the product started to work incredibly well for them. And we understood why physicians were doing this. Obviously, it was a little confusing to give a men's product to a woman. So we doubled down there and we further unpacked that. And we dove again deep into the root causes, and we formulated the women's balance formulation. which was solely targeting women after 45 years old. And the product, we doubled down also on clinical trials, and we were the first company that really tested a whole formulation focusing on hair for this specific audience, really in the world. And we invested millions of dollars to make sure that the product was efficacious and was truly working. And the results were absolutely remarkable. This audience right now is, just to give you a sense, is even larger than the entire men's audience. So it's quite remarkable, and that just tells you that there is such a demand, and that this audience is being ignored for such a long period amount of time. And us really focusing on that and making sure that there's proper education and proper clinical evidence was really our number one priority. I think for men have solutions available, like some of the pharmaceutical solutions. There's not a lot of solutions for women available that are easy to use or really effective. Like men can still take some of these popular pharmaceuticals such as finasteride. It's like that's not something you want to give to women. And minoxidil is hard to use, right? I know that now it's starting to be prescribed as an oral solution. I'm a little skeptical there, but I'm curious to hear your point of view. But minoxidil, to use it twice a day and to rub this sticky foam into your hair, it's from a habit formation standpoint, from an experience standpoint, it's not easy. So I think that's another reason why our audience is so much skewed towards women, because it's easier. The supplements are easy to use. They don't have any side effects, and it has all these amazing side benefits to the body other than just hair. So also this internal approach is really a holistic, multi-target approach. Also always resonated with women, and I personally think that women are more in tune with their bodies. Men are easier to just jump on some of these drugs and are a little impatient. And that's another reason why I think that that Nutrafol and its products are so incredibly not just beneficial, but have been just widely adapted by the women's audiences. The other thing I want to add to that is that as a company in the beginning, we're really focusing on physicians and credibility and thought leadership to really prove to ourselves and to the physician community that this is an effective and good solution. And dermatology was the specialty that was our focus. So, and to my understanding, that's also quite skewed towards women. So I think that also has contributed to additional awareness and our entire company to really being focused there.
So have you done anything in terms of marketing more towards the male population?
Yeah, we absolutely have, and it's definitely a growing audience for us. But overall, I just also believe in just organically going where the demand is, right? And obviously, there's a massive men's market and a massive issue when it comes to hair thinning for men, and we're making significant difference there. But what we've seen work really well also for the women's audience is to target specific bio needs, meaning the different life stages. So we've got this amazing postpartum product now that we launched it's about 2 years now, but also such amazing opportunity to educate the audience about the essence and the importance of taking a supplement post pregnancy, right? Because a lot of women are experiencing. My wife that was going through childbirth, it was hard on her to see her ponytail go from this thick to much thinner, and then really getting tremendously concerned with the amount of hair loss during postpartum. So these are important things, I think, to be aware of, and us being able to further personalize the experience and focus on the different life stages for women, and then depending on that, also having additional boosters to target additional root causes has been insanely beneficial. So that's something that we've done there as well, which we've seen tremendous results with. So on the men's side, we still optimizing the experience there, and I definitely believe that there's a need there. But right now, there's about 50 million women that are experiencing thinning hair or loss in some stage in their lives, and I think that's just the United States. And as we just said, that's a growing issue. So that has to change, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. So, what is your vision for the future of Nutrafol, and how do you plan to achieve it?
My vision is to continue to drive impact and to add value to people's lives. That's what personally is driving me always forward. So with that always in mind, as a North Star, we're not just introducing more products to increase market share or to be more competitive with competition out there, or following any trends. We really focus on how do we make the existing solutions better and better and better, and how do we optimize the entire experience for patients, for physician partners, for our customers. How do we improve that all the time to make sure that people are set up for success? So that's really, we make a lot of decisions internally and the teams through that lens, and I believe in that constant optimization in general, because it's very easy to tackle a new category, right, or to jump into new products, or to just add solutions to the existing solution, but that's not necessarily going to help our people, right? So and there's, I think, a lot of opportunity to further innovate there, right? Science is evolving. Science is knowledge, and we want to make sure that we're staying at the forefront of that all the time. And we everything we do is about credibility and trust. So we owe it to our partners and to our customers and patients to constantly be ahead of that. So we've got an amazing science and research team. That's all in house. We're not outsourcing any of that. Our physician partners are also deeply involved with innovation and guiding us, so we make the right decisions moving forward. And that continues to be our North Star. And we're excited to continue to innovate there and to improve the experience for our customers at all times, also from a habit formation standpoint. Right now, for example, you have to take 4 pills a day because we're using clinical efficacious dosages. We're not just sprinkling an ingredient and trying to get away with a claim, which a lot of supplements unfortunately do. So we're using clinical efficacious dosages. Now, as a consequence, you have to take 4 pills a day. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to through innovation to improve that experience. Actually, the women's vegan formulation that came out, which was also something that we've heard from our customers, was that there was a desire for a vegan formulation, which we've done, and we also proved through clinical trials on the whole formulations that these vegan formulations are incredibly effective, which is amazing. Like these, the vegan formulation, actually the pills are already smaller. So we already have included new innovation there to not just improve the product's efficacy, but also the experience.
No, That's very important. Obviously, you also, if you could and get the same results, if you could get it to down to maybe 2 pills a day, that would also improve the experience. But hopefully, with science, we'll be able to get there.
100%. As long as we don't jeopardize efficacy, that's our number one priority.
So, how do you build the distribution initially? Like, any company in the beginning struggles to really get their product out there, but I'm really curious, did you focus on B2B or did you first do B2C? What was your strategy and how
Yeah,
has it evolved over time?
yeah, that's a great question. So we always believed in trust and credibility. So we didn't just go to D2C because we believed that we needed the physician partners, we needed the thought leaders, the key opinion leaders in the space, especially dermatology, to really be on our side. So we spent so much time with physicians to get educated ourselves, but also to educate physicians based on the science and the white papers that we had and the clinicals. We spent a lot of time there to make sure that we're building that sense of trust and for physicians to understand and to believe in this new approach, really. So that's how it started, and it's still that case. I just came from a sales conference in Austin and was there with the entire sales team that is really focusing on the physician space, and I described it as still just as the core foundation of everything that we do. Right, so it is. We're the number one dermatology recommended hair growth supplement out there, and that's a claim that we not take lightly. That's something that we worked very hard for, and we owe that to the community, and we continue to evolve physician partners in everything that we do, and we want to make sure that they're set up for success with their patients. So what kind of innovation and experience can we introduce to them to support them throughout the entire journey? So it is very important to continue to recognize how important credibility and trust is in this space, especially where there's a lot of sometimes misconceptions and distrust, as we just talked about. So that was always the approach, and then we followed with a very strong D2C, especially on Nutrafol, a strategy, and that has been incredibly successful to us. We introduced Sephora also a few years ago, but in a very limited way, just purely for brand awareness and additional credibility for consumers that would not go to their doctor, for consumers that maybe the issue is not that severe, right? Typically also a younger audience, just to make sure that we're serving and we're showing up for people wherever we believe that's necessary, but always keeping in mind that there's no channel conflict. And I think a lot of companies often make that mistake. It's like they're chasing the opportunity, they're chasing, frankly, the money, right? And they're opening a lot of distribution everywhere and anywhere. And we've stayed very, very focused. It was just Nutrafol.com to serve our customers because we've got the direct relationship there to set them up for success, and then really supporting our physician partners the best way possible, and using that as a foundation at all times. That has been working out quite well for us.
When do you think the typical transition point is for most customers to recognize that they need to take something for their hair loss? I think women, like you said, may recognize that at an earlier point in time, because
Right.
they may be more in tune with their bodies, and maybe even they're looking in the mirror a little more often. And do you think there's a delay in this due to either the lack of education or Obviously, there's maybe a component of that that could be denial. Um, and I'm just curious, do you think that most people want a natural way to treat their hair loss because they're concerned about side effects, like you were in your personal story that you shared with us in the beginning?
Yeah, that's a great question. I recently heard this pretty it's a bit of a scary statistic. You have to lose, I believe, it's 50 or 40% of your hair before you even realize it actually starts to thin, which
Okay.
which um, which emphasizes what you just said, which is yeah, you have to be almost like a little bit aware of it, right? And pay attention, pay attention to how your body is responding, and your hair is a reflection of your inner wellness, right? So if you're starting to experiencing hair thinning, it's like an alarm bell should go off and say, you know what, something is a little off. Um, what is it, to see if you can proactively target the issue. So yeah, I do think that people have to pay a little bit more attention, and I do think that ultimately people want a quick fix, right? And we live in this world where everything is about instant gratification. But I think it's important, especially when it comes to hair, to educate consumers and patients that hair takes time to grow, right? There's no such thing as a quick fix. Um, so it takes time, and if something takes time, you wanna take an approach that is healthy. So yes, I do believe that consumers would prefer something that is healthier for themselves, even though a quick fix is sometimes prioritized. But then you have to deal with some of these side effects, which I do think even post pandemic, people do want to be healthier, right? And people do pay more attention to their wellness and to their bodies, which I think is a great trend, honestly.
Patience. I always tell everyone, especially when it comes to hair.
I appreciate
So,
that. I appreciate that, and managing expectations, right? Because you don't want to overpromise. So, yeah, I appreciate that.
yeah, one of the most disappointing visits with a patient is a month after they come back and they say, I don't think anything's growing.
Right.
Well, it takes, I would say, at least 3 months to see a change. So just be a little patient. But obviously, sometimes they need that reassurance. Is there any
Yeah.
research that Nutrafol is doing now that you can share with us that is helping to accelerate and propel this industry forward?
Yeah, I do think, well, there's a lot of research going on. We constantly are trying to understand um, what's at the root, right? And as I just mentioned, there's all these systems within the body that are really playing a role, and everything is interconnected. And there's this super interesting just microbiome research that we have been doing, and we actually do have a booster that is targeting the microbiome. It's a probiotic and a prebiotic for hair. Um, I don't know if you believe a lot in the microbiome research, and that's ever evolving. But I do think it could be the second brain. Um, so yeah, what could be off there, right? And how can you influence and positively affect the microbiome to trigger healthier hair growth? We've seen a lot of patients actually, some of them that would not experience the results that they would like to achieve with the core formulations. Um, we've been diving in deep there and doing some additional microbiome testing, and we've seen that sometimes the microbiome is completely off, is not just absorbing anything, right? So that's obviously an uphill battle. So how can you then optimize the microbiome so it is effective? And we've seen some pretty amazing results with people being on probiotics, and then the gut flora to be optimized, and therefore everything is just working more in sync. So there's a lot there to explore that we're doing. So that's one. We also have applied a bit of a similar approach to any scalp treatments. As you probably know really well, women and men, I think we're ruining our hair by just shampooing and conditioning and treating our hair topically, often even on a daily basis. So, and there's so much product out there that's just so toxic, and that's absorbed by the skin, by the scalp, and so our topical solutions actually are focusing on the microbiome of the scalp and the microbiome of the skin, really, just to make sure that we do no harm. So we're not making any excessive claims that some of these products can increase hair growth and any of that. It's like, let's just start by just do not harm, and putting something, if you're using a daily shampoo and a conditioner, or every other day, let's make sure that you do no harm. You're not stripping away all the healthy components of your scalp, and including your hair. So there's a lot of research there that we continue to double down on, and we're having some great exosomes that are included in our scalp serum, our hair serum. Also a very good product that we've seen great results with. So that continues to evolve, all that research, and hopefully there's much more to come there in the future, as long as we adding products to people's regimen that will make a difference. This is not about just adding products to sell more product. Absolutely not. We have to always keep in mind that we need to add value to people's lives and set people up for success. That's again
I really appreciate that.
our North Star. So sometimes we actually even remove products out of the regimen because it just doesn't make any sense to give people so much product. Sometimes less is more.
Totally agree with that. And do you have a vision to expand to other markets outside of the US?
Yeah. So as you probably know, so we the company got recently partially acquired by Unilever. They're an amazing partner to us, and the good news is that we're very aligned on the vision and our purpose, and where we believe the company should be going. And we're all driven by impact, and we want to make sure that people can feel the best version of themselves by improving hair health. So yeah, we're expanding globally, which is incredibly exciting. We recently launched in China, which is a very different market. I'm a big believer that if we launch in a different market, we need to do it well. It's not about just testing a market and hopefully something is going to work out. I believe in good market research and making sure that we can emotionally connect with consumers and patients. This goes back again to credibility and trust. It's like, who do we need to involve in these countries to gain that trust and credibility? Because we just don't want to be a marketing company, right? We want to lead with credibility and science and knowledge, and that requires work. So and time, frankly. So it's not easy to tackle some of these new countries. But with Unilever's help, we're going to be able to make a difference. And we've seen already some very great success in China, which is also a continent where this is a growing concern. As a matter of fact, very interestingly, 20 to 25 years ago, the Chinese population didn't have such a great issue with thinning and loss. And only in the past 20 to 25 years, it has become a real big issue, including women, which is interesting, right? What has changed? the past 20 to 25 years in China. And we all know that the industrial revolution there, right, is and the increases in stress and the demands on just people, because they're incredibly hardworking, and how that potentially is taking a toll on not just their health but also their hair. So an increased issue where we believe we can make a difference.
Well, it's very exciting. Giorgos, thank you for joining us today. I loved hearing your story and the background behind Nutrafol.
Thank you so much for having me, and all the best. Thank you for all the value that you're adding.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Derm Club podcast. If you found the discussion today to be valuable, please subscribe and share. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode as we continue to delve into dermatology and skincare with the world experts.